Not too long ago, the company Apeman sent me a couple of their trail cameras to test out. In this video, I want to look at the H45, which sells for $59.99 on Amazon. Since some modern trail cameras retail for well north of $200, it'll be good to see what performance this camera could provide. In the box, you get documentation, the camera itself, and a few accessories. There are a couple stickers that need to be removed from the exterior, and one additional one that needs to be removed on the inside. A thin plate covers up the battery compartment, which holds 8 AA batteries. For accessories, the camera comes with an olive-colored cam strap. I'm really glad it came with a natural color rather than black. You also get a USB cable, and finally, the camera also comes with an adjustable wall mount. There are a few screws that you'd use to connect the plate to either a wall or a wooden post, and then you can set the trail camera at almost any angle. This would be useful for somebody who wants to use the camera primarily for security around the house. It can be a little challenging to pop the battery plate off since the latch is so close to the edge of the housing. However, I found that if you used a car key, you can generally get it to pop right off. Now I'll insert my lithium AA batteries and SD card and check out the initial settings. The camera can accept up to a 32 GB card. The power switch has 3 different settings: off, test, and on. You turn to the middle position, test, in order to adjust the settings. The menu is pretty intuitive. Up and down buttons navigate through the settings, and then you can hit OK to make a selection. You get photo mode, video mode, or hybrid mode, which takes both the photo and video. Although you have the ability to take photos up to 12 megapixels, you have to shoot in 5 megapixel or lower in order to shoot photos in burst mode, which I thought was a bit strange. I'll have test photos in both 12 megapixel single and 5 megapixel burst later on. Videos can be recorded in up to full HD, and I'll include samples of the video as well. For the video length, you can actually record up to 10 minutes. For attachment to a tree, you can use the provided strap, or alternatively, you can also rig up a metal tie plate and a few machine screws to use with the provided swivel mount. This is what I personally like to use because it allows me to use these in areas where I'm not allowed to screw anything into a tree. For the first test that you're watching, I had the camera set on one-shot burst 12 megapixel. I walked past the camera at increasingly further distances. Walking right in front of the camera, the image was timed well. However, at 10 and 15 yards, you can tell by my shadow that the picture took just before I entered the screen. And at 20 yards, the image triggered as I was roughly in the middle of the frame. Also notice the relatively wide-angle lens, which gives you a great view of items that are close to the camera, but they will appear smaller at further distances. Next, I tried the same test on 3-shot burst in 5 megapixel. In this mode, the camera missed me walking right in front of it. However, at 10, 15, and 20 yards, all 3 images were captured well within the frame. In full HD video mode, the camera missed me walking right in front of it. However, at 10, 15, and 20 yards, the camera triggered while I was well within the frame. Next, I tested the camera at night. While this camera has the advantage of being a no-glow flash, it was immediately noticeable that the picture is only lit up in a small ring in the center of the frame. Outside of that ring, the image darkens up pretty fast. This first image is at 12 megapixels, and the camera triggered before I could get well into the lit part of the screen. You can actually see my body just on the very left edge of the screen. For 3-shot burst at 5 megapixel, the timing was much better. I'm holding a set of antlers to see how well the night shot showed detail, and I'm about at 12 yards away. Here's the full HD video test. As long as you're within the center of the frame, you can typically see what's going on fairly well. Out toward the edges of the frame, not as much. I set the camera out in the woods to capture some actual game images and video. The camera was set to hybrid mode, where it would take a 12 megapixel image, followed immediately by a full HD video. I'll just let these play so you can hear the actual audio from the camera. Notice that on some of the nighttime videos, you can hear the sound of a deer walking through the snow, but you can't see it if it's not in the exact center of the screen. A couple things I really like about the camera. One is the price. It's hard to complain at $60. You can buy 3 of these for the cost of some of the cameras I've used in the past. I love the big LCD screen on the inside of the camera. It's easy to review images and video in the field, and the menu system is very intuitive and easy to use. The daytime images and video are very good for the price in my opinion. I actually prefer the wider field of view that this camera has because I like putting my cameras up in the trees and pointing them downwards. This gives me a much better chance of capturing an animal in the frame. I've never had a false trigger yet either. Things I didn't like? Really the main thing was just the nighttime image and video quality. You lose a lot of the field of view with the way that the image is lit. I also thought it was a bit strange that you could only use 12 megapixel in a single shot mode. Because of this and the image timing, I actually prefer the 3-shot burst and 5 megapixel. Overall though, for $60 it's not a bad camera. I haven't used it long enough to evaluate long-term reliability or battery life, though I suggest looking at the Amazon reviews as a supplement to this video review. Also, be on the lookout for my review of the Apeman H45 camera. For an extra $20, you get additional features and better nighttime performance. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching.